Hello everyone, Spiros here from Orthopedic Reflexology from a cold Greece. Maybe some of you would find it warm, but for us Greeks even now it's cold. Holidays are approaching, so this is normal, puts us in a mood. Today's, my subject for today is like a question: what does New Zealand, Hippocrates, and reflexology have in common? Well, from New Zealand, I was inspired by a post by a colleague, well-respected colleague. I don't know her personally, Kate Middleton, and she posted, reflexology puts the patient in the driver's seat. And I found this very inspiring. I do have this approach in orthopedic reflexology. For those who have attended training, this would be very familiar. And we will talk about this towards the end of this video. So, I thought I would ponder on it even more. Putting the patient in the driver's seat is a metaphor that is commonly being used to symbolize the shift from a passive state of the patient to a more active role, a role of inclusion, of decision-making, participating in this procedure of decision-making, of having autonomy also. Autonomy will be achieved by empowerment. Empowerment of the patient is achieved when the patient acquires knowledge about the disease, about the therapies that he or she will go through, and to participate in this. Also, empowerment is having skills in their possession to utilize to handle their symptoms, to handle their condition, maybe the symptoms of the treatments, to have active participation, a larger role in the whole procedure. Now, for me, studying this the last few days, it's been interesting that feelings come up of the patient all the time. But when the feelings are positive results also will follow these feelings, and I acknowledge this as important. In 1977, George Engel proposed a shift from the biomedical model where the physician is the man in charge or woman in charge to the biopsychosocial model where the physician is still in hierarchy, is still there, but now he proposes taking into account the psycho, which would mean the subjective experience of the patient and the social context in which the patient is going through his disease. Of course, as an example, I was watching a conference on patient inclusion in the UK, and there are these patients who are called patient leaders advocating for patient inclusion. And one of the leaders described that at the age of 20, having been diagnosed with severe arthritis, his age at 20 and his social life, none of these factors were taken into account, and this was not correct. The main word here that we have to pinpoint and we will need is time. In order for all these things to happen, time is needed. Even though George Engel said this in 1977, it was Hippocrates in his book Aphorisms, which is a book written for experienced doctors, in the first paragraph, where I'm sure you've heard the Latin quote, ars longa vita brevis, but let's translate the paragraph. It is said, the art is long, life is short. Opportunity fleeing, experience perilous. I hope I said that one correctly. And he continues by saying, it's not all up to me, the doctor. The patient must cooperate. Here is the driver, the co-driver, if you like. He must have the support of his family and peers, which we see the social part, and the externals be favorable. Here the externals are the society again. Is there a war? Is there a financial crisis? Anything of this nature. Speaking about more recent history, I have to say that I remember Edzard Ernst professor in the UK. He was in charge of complementary alternative medicine education at a university. Forgive me for not remembering. He is the author of the book Trick or Treatment. And bottom line is he would give reflexology and all CAM modalities a really bad beating, demystifying them, saying maybe it's all part of the context, the comforting, the touch, the this, the that. Then there was Kathy Sykes from the BBC, a journalist, a reporter looking into reflexology and complementary medicine again, and with a psychologist, I remember on the episode of Reflexology, together with the psychologist, looking at the treatment, at the therapist, the ambient room, the warmth, the discussions between them, all these metaphors going on, the colors, putting things into context. And it seems very much that the biopsychosocial model is trending towards what CAM therapists are doing naturally on their own. Even up-to-date physiotherapy, it's interesting that there is this trend, no more equipment, some resistance training, a lot of pain education, a lot of interpersonal skills between people as therapists. They recommend that they get into that, putting things into context. Again, you see a trend to what is naturally being done in the CAM world in general, and reflexology, of course. If you like these topics, I do have recently created a course, a web course, Pouring Wisdom into the Cup of Greed. You might want to look into that if you like this kind of stuff. Qualitative and quantitative research has shown again and again that complementary and alternative methods are being used by patients. And with some other interesting always information. I find that the disclosure, that statistic is all that they hide that they're doing these treatments from the doctor anyway, interesting. So, and then this gives rise out of this percentage of people that use CAM. Why do they use them is another question. And there's always a strong number there, a strong percentage or representation of people choosing complementary and alternative methods to put them exactly in the driver's seat. Either it is they have a safe space to open up, they have enough time with their therapist to open up, either because they participate by learning about the method or the intention of or the suggestions of the therapist. There's a decision made by both in this direction. They acquire possibly tools, elements of the treatment to apply in order to handle their symptoms, or as part of a treatment regimen, let's say a complementary. All of this will lead them to have a sense of mastery, which is another important word they use. And this is as I read it, I am in control of my health. I want to feel like this. I am not in control of my illness. So in this model, the clinician is in charge of still the biomedical aspect, but with safety, the patient can navigate self-care methods by utilizing complementary and alternative medicine, placing him in the driver's seat. So what he needs now is the knowledge and the skills, encouragement to apply. So finally and essentially, to follow up on the experience from New Zealand, Kate Middleton's post, Reflexology puts the patient in the driver's seat. Reflexology can do it with the safe space it creates, the listening and non-judgmental ears. To mind come the knowledge of the emotions and traditional Chinese medicine or other systems. Self-help techniques. Often, I remember Lynn Booth between treatments recommending self-help techniques on referral areas or cross reflexes. self-help techniques by using maybe the face with your favorite system. Or today I have a book of Dien Chan. It was a gift recently from Vietnamese therapists. Self-help techniques with acupressure points, self-help techniques with reflexology, do-it-yourself techniques. In orthopedic reflexology, I like the sedative technique, and I know there's a variety on how professionals will apply it, but I'm looking into conditioned pain modulation, this theory, and using the breathing and rewarding the recipient when the exercise, the technique is finished. Also in orthopedic reflexology, knowing the anatomy and the actions of the intrinsic and extrinsic muscles, we can invite the recipient, the client, the patient to do movements accordingly to participate, acknowledging. Other ways interesting I find are through color therapy and bringing in the colors. I have a beautiful book, many years, by Pauline Wills, and she has these charts inside with the colors, I just want to get to the page, I'm sorry, it wasn't ready, what the colors are good for every condition, and this could be used with projections, visualizations, knowledge given to the client, to use. Father Joseph of the Ruo Shur method incorporates traditional Chinese medicine, as does Inga Dugan's. Again, we have the colors to use, and you can educate a patient who wants to get into the driver's seat about these things. There is also the visualization I would read when I was beginning early from Barbara and Kevin Koons. Also, I remember for mending bones, they would use a gold thread, how to visualize this. So it makes it interesting in this, to incorporate it this way also. Finally, I would like to inform you, if you are interested in trainings in orthopedic reflexology, I know this Friday there will be major discounts, so I will have on offer some courses that I provide, web courses. My future trainings, immediate and traveling, will be with the national team in Holland, so I'm inviting Holland Dutch reflexologists who want to meet. I will be with the national team in Bossum, and having a course in July in Asperen. But before that, early February in Cyprus, end of February in Krakow, Poland. April will be Athens if you want to get into the Greek vibe. June is hagarbasis.reflexology Academy. In June, London is great in June. July will be, as I said, Holland in Asperen. And there is in October in Ireland, I have a great course coming up for the friends in Ireland. So, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.